ladies and gentlemen, here to introduce Joe Castiglione. Please welcome a former recipient of this award and a great friend of the state of Oklahoma, Mr. Lee Allen Smith.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I can't tell you how pleased I am to be here tonight. I understand they call him Joe C. I got an inside joke. A lot of people, fans down there, call him Joe Castiglione. You know who that is, don't you, Dick? But I call him Joe Castiglione. It's a lot better than those guys that call you in Florida as Italian. Joe Castiglione. I want to tell you how pleased and fantastic I think it is that OCU is honoring Joe tonight. I think it's very classy of them, and I appreciate the president and Jim Abbott and all the people at OCU to honor this wonderful man tonight. I'd ask that all of you, to read the program when you get home tonight, to read all about Joe's accomplishments, his awards, his honors, which are many and very well deserved, and very hard job that he has done for the University of Oklahoma. I ask that so that I can keep my remarks brief so you can hear the main man, and that's our good friend Joe. I got to tell you personally, from the day he came here, I love the guy. I respect him, I admire him, and with all his great success, he's still so very humble. And a lot of times when you look at bios, you see at the end, oh, by the way, he was married to and has a son. I want to move them up and appreciate if you allow me to introduce his beautiful, lovely, sweet wife, Kristen, and their two sons, Joe Jr. and Jonathan, right here at this table. Fine young men and a great family man, Joe is, and that's why we respect him so much as well. Many of you don't know some of the things that Joe once did as, for example, a volunteer firefighter. And he washed dishes, mowed lawns, worked in construction, started his own car washing service, and ran a valet service as well, all to help pay for his college education. I might add that Joe is the only member of his family in 4 decades, 4 generations, I should say, to have a degree in higher education. He even got one at OU as a master's degree. And I think that's wonderful of Joe. And I would bet you that his sons will make that a little change in that record, though, don't you think, Joe? During his valet service in Florida, he became very close friends with Jackie Gleason. And with that opportunity, he met a lot of celebrities like Bob Hope, Sammy Davis, Tony Bennett, Paul Newman, Dean Martin, Bing Crosby, Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau, and others. The only thing I might say, and I think he said it himself one time, he says that kind of shows his age because both of these people are no longer with us. But the stars that really came about for Joe, I think, is when he came to the University of Oklahoma, for the true celebrities that he's been associated with. I respect and appreciate so much that Joe embraced, when he came here to Norman, that he embraced the Wilkinson era players and the Switzer era players and their staff. I might add that Bud Wilkinson's son, right here, is a great guy, and we appreciate your being here tonight. And for Switzer, who was not in town, as they said earlier, Selman brothers are pretty great. Zach Selman, Dewey's son, is here representing that era, and of course Dick Ellis, my friend, who plays for Wilkinson. And I want to thank all of them. I'll try to give you some highlights, a little bit of things you may not know, but this is what Barry Switzer had to say about Joe. Everybody has a Joe, and I'm just glad we have our Joe in the AD position. When he came to OU, his first job was to hire a football coach. He didn't take the easy way out by hiring the established guy. Instead, he handpicked the assistant coach. He says, and goes on, that's my kind of guy. As you know, he was an assistant coach as well. Bob Stoops said, Joe is special. When you look at this schedule through the year and see how many different committees he's on for the NCAA, or for football or basketball or baseball or whatever it may be, it's giving of himself and being unselfish. It's not just for Oklahoma, but for other athletes across the country to make it the best experience that it can be for us. Joe, through building our program, gives us an opportunity to compete for championships, and you know he does that. That turned out to be a pretty good hire. Listen to what Sherry Cole said. I think what I admire most, maybe, and definitely what I appreciate most about Joe is his vision. Joe is a big thinker, and he understands the interconnectedness of all decisions. Frederick Douglass once said that poets, prophets, and reformers see what ought to be the reflection of what is, and endeavor to remove the contradiction. I think that's what Joe does from the third floor of Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. He looks out across the sprawling landscape of Oklahoma athletics and makes big, bold decisions that move us ever forward. He toils in large and small ways daily to remove the contradictions. Gymnastic coach Mark Williams said, Joe Castiglione's support and leadership has given the Oklahoma men's gymnastic team the opportunity to win 5 national championships and 12 conference titles since his arrival, all while providing moral and ethical integrity and financial stability. David Bourne said this honor is well-deserved, and in my opinion, Joe Castiglione is the best athletics director in the country. And Lon Kruger said results speak for themselves. Joe is simply the best AD in the country. So it looks like it's unanimous, but if I may say, for my dear friends at OCU and Jim Abbott, tonight it's a draw. If you don't mind, let's give Jim Abbott a good hand. He's a heck of a guy, and ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to introduce this year's recipient of the Abe Lemons Hansen Award for Sports Excellence, Mr. Joe Castiglione.
Not very often that a person gets introduced by Oklahoma's best friend. Thank you, Leon. I've had a lot of people looking over my shoulder since arriving at Oklahoma, but now I know what it looks like for me myself to be looking over somebody's shoulder. All I can do is say thank you. Thank you to all those associated with Oklahoma City University who had any hand in nominating or selecting me to be the winner of the Abe Lemons Paul Hansen Award for Sports Excellence. I don't know if there's a hanging chad or a problem at the polls, but when I looked at the distinguished list of winners, some that have been introduced like Mike and Lee Allen and others, Clay Bennett, Barry Switzer, or Sherry Cole, or Bill Self, Mick, Bobby Mercer, Bart Connor, last year's winner Sam Presti. I'm just not sure how I made it into this group. Even more notably is, the fact that this award is named after two true gentlemen, Coach Lemons and Coach Hansen. To have something in their name is humbling to say the least. I was fortunate to actually get to know both gentlemen. I met them both in the early to mid 80s
while I was at the University of Missouri, and had a chance to get to know them. After that time, and of course, when I came to Oklahoma, I still had a chance to sit down and talk to Coach Lemons, and as we all know, he's a true treasure of this state. Well, I know this event has truly been spectacular, at least up to this point, but I want to congratulate Oklahoma City University. I had the good fortune of knowing Judge and now President Henry and watching what you've done to profoundly impact not only the university, but to connect higher education to this community and to this state. As one that's part of that, it's truly remarkable. And know the students that you're touching, and just like Jim Abbott, and what you have done to enrich the lives of students and student athletes, both in competition and in the classroom. It's almost becoming Oklahoma Championship University, OCU. All those national titles, we talk about 28 at the University of Oklahoma. They've had 53 now since 1988 and have won at least one in 21 straight years, now with the success that they've had this year. That's amazing. Just another word about Abe Lemons and Paul Hansen. They go together like milk and cookies. Great as they were coaching, working together, but obviously very successful on their own. While their coaching success is a very distinguishing characteristic in their legacy, I'm sure that it's the way that they relate to people, inspire them to have been the best they could be, is really one of the reasons why their legacy continues to be so vibrant today. It just made you feel good when you were in their presence. They were just likable people. They were so likable, even their enemies listed them as the person to contact in case of an emergency. You know, really, the great thing about this recognition is the chance for me to highlight all those who really earned the award. It wasn't me. They're the reason why I'm standing here. My family was introduced earlier, but I'm going to say it again. Without my great wife, Kristen, and two of the greatest boys, sons you could ever hope to have in Joe and Jonathan, there's no chance I could be part of the career that I have. She's the one keeping it together at home. And I really want to be with her. Without a doubt, I wouldn't be in Oklahoma if it wasn't for David L. Bourne. Flat out, would not be here. And I owe so much of any kind of small credit that I get to him. Because he was the one that helped encourage me to leave what I thought was my dream job at the University of Missouri. And I'll never forget that. You know, usually when you go through a process where somebody's trying to get you interested in a job, and I haven't done that very much. I've been on the other end trying to get others interested in coming. But he called me every single night. That just a president doesn't do that. I would not be here. We would not have the success that we've had without his incredible leadership, commitment, and support. And he's the reason that you even thought about honoring me, but again, you're honoring so many others. I get to work with skilled coaches and gifted student athletes, some that Lee Allen mentioned. Bob Stoops, Lon Kruger, Sherry Cole, Mark Williams, Patty Gasso, and there are some other coaches that are on our campus that have won conference titles or are on the precipice of bringing the national championship in their sport. And you'll know their names soon. They'll become household names too. Just like some of the student athletes we've been able to cheer. Heisman Trophy winners, Players of the Year, Blake Griffin, or Sam Bradford, or Jason White. The Paris twins, the impact that people have made in every sport that we sponsored. They're the reasons why you even think about honoring the success at the University of Oklahoma. I've got a dedicated staff, and they all couldn't be here. We have several events going on tonight, notably Bedlam softball. So some had to stay back there. Some of our coaches are involved in competition or recruiting, but I'd really like those staff members that are here to stand because they make it happen too. I want all of you to stand. We got Zach, we have Jason, Nikki, Brandon, Larry Nathan, Lee, Michael Walker, Jan Meeks, Tammy Thompson. Thank you guys. You just can't do this job without great people. Of course, there's so many friends, supporters of the University of Oklahoma in this room, just as they support Oklahoma City University. We have a passionate fan base. You support the vision that we have. You take a leap of faith sometimes when it's questionable, but in the end it's going to be the best thing for the university, and it's been a big reason why we're celebrating success. And of course, in this business you have to have a lot of friends and strengthen relationships that are enduring. And one of the I guess you could say, blessings that I've had in this business is I've been able to mentor others, staff members who have moved on to become athletics directors at Division I institutions, and now I'm fortunate to call 11 of them, 11 that are directors of athletics right now at other institutions. And that's a special thing to be able to do something for somebody else. So in closing, please, how lucky, how privileged, how honored could a guy be, to have a career in a life like this in a most wonderful state like Oklahoma. I knew when I was being hired it was a difficult time, challenging time for the university. Morale was down. The financial situation was really tough. At times it felt like they were sending me into Dollar General with 50 cents and asking me to come back with change. We're not shopping at Dollar General though. We're going to the Neiman Marcus. We're going to the biggest stores, and I had to convince them we needed some credit just for a little while until we could build up our budget, and we did. We paid back all that debt, and we've been able to be great partners for the academic mission. But I wouldn't, again, have this kind of opportunity if it wasn't for President Bourne, if it wasn't for coaches, if it wasn't for skilled, dedicated staff. It wasn't for great student athletes. It wasn't for a supportive family. Couldn't have done it. You've all been helpful in allowing us to develop the culture that would become the underpinning for all of our success. And it's never about one person. And we knew that we could be part of something bigger than any one individual. But each person has an individual talent. But those individual talents and those collective efforts are truly what has created the competitive advantage for the University of Oklahoma. So I know what speeches are like. You're not necessarily going to remember much about what somebody says. But tonight, it's about the way people involved in this event make you feel. Abe Lemons made you feel great. Paul Hansen made you feel like a special person. Oklahoma City University made me feel just so honored, but excited because I could thank and recognize all those people that helped make our success possible. You all have made me feel inspired. So I thank you for this award. I thank you for the opportunity to honor all of the others that helped make it possible. Thank you very much.